When I was on the job market for a faculty position, way back in 2002, some liberal arts colleges still expected their computer science faculty to maintain the computer systems. With neither interest nor experience, I resolved that I was only going to take a job offer at a department that already had their own system administrator. So at Pomona, I was told that they had just created such a position and that they were in the process of filling it. Thus reassured, I accepted the job. That fall, I met Mikey Dickerson. He was the new system administrator and also a class of 2001 Pomona math major. He was technically gifted, blessed with a uniquely charming personality, and always willing to tell people all the things that he felt they really needed to know. Sadly for us, he left for Google 3.5 years later. At Google, he was employed as a site reliability engineer, but he also took leaves of absence to work on both Obama campaigns. You may recall that many political analysts attributed Obama's 2012 re-election victory to his campaign analytics team. After that, he went back to Google, and then in the fall of 2013, he was asked by the White House to join an ad hoc team tasked with fixing the Healthcare.gov website after its troubled launch. On the line was the public's access to affordable health care. Just 6 weeks later, the website was running smoothly, and the team had succeeded in preserving the president's vision for healthcare reform. Time magazine accordingly took note and put Mikey and the rest of the Healthcare.gov group on its cover in March 2014. And then, just a few months later, making history again, Mikey returned to Washington, D.C. as the administrator of the newly created U.S. Digital Service, an agency whose mission is, quote, to improve and simplify the digital experience that people and business have with their government, close quote. I suspect that Mikey's technical expertise and charming personality continue to serve him exceedingly well in his current job. I do know for a fact that he still gets to tell people what they really need to know, for example, telling software engineers that there are better uses for their talents than writing apps for sharing photos of food. Mikey, thank you for serving our country and for being an inspiration. Mr. President, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the faculty of Pomona College, it is my great honor to present to you Mikey Dickerson for the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
Michael Dickerson, by the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science in Pomona College, honoris causa.
Thank you. This is quite an honor. I'm pleased to note I seem to have been sorted into Hufflepuff. I knew I was going to have to say a couple of things, and I had no idea what they would be. So I applied the time-honored scientific tradition of asking a couple of people that I knew what they thought. I learned a couple of things. The first one is that grown-ups take these commencement speeches very seriously. There are maybe a couple dozen of my close friends and coworkers that have tuned in to see these couple minutes I'm going to talk here, which is to say that in point of fact, it's quite a bit more than the number of people that came to see me actually graduate in the first place. The second thing I learned is that nobody actually remembers what anybody said at their own graduation whatsoever. So it's more than probable that those of you that are graduating today that I'm ostensibly talking to are going to have forgotten this by lunch, which is fine. So these two things seem to stand in contradiction. How do these things make sense? The only thing I can come up with is that for grown-ups, doing a speech like this is the closest thing we get to being able to go back in time and tell ourselves what we would have wanted to hear when we were 21 years old. The lot of you graduating today are the closest thing that there is in the world to a carbon copy of what I was when I was 21 years old. And it does make you a little bit emotional, I'd admit. This only makes sense if you think that as grown-ups, or what passes for grown-ups anyway, we think that we know something about how our lives should have been lived. This is a very dubious proposition in the best case, and I can tell you I am not the best case. There is nobody more surprised than I am to be standing here doing this right now. with the possible exception of a few professors behind me. This I know because some of them have forgotten that I can read their Facebook posts. I'm just going to face this way for the next minute or two. The reason this is surprising is because listening to Professor Chen's introduction, which she did a great job of, by the way, and a little program printed here, everything I've ever done that was considered noteworthy by anybody was something that was not part of any plan whatsoever. I did not have a plan to go work at Google. That might have never happened if one of my friends from Pomona had not encouraged me to call back that recruiter that time. I didn't have a plan to go work on the Obama campaign. It was just that they needed a specific technical niche that I happened to be doing at Google, and they asked for help, and I went for a little while. I absolutely did not have a plan to get mixed up in Healthcare.gov in 2013. That only happened because a couple people remembered me from the campaign and thought I might be of some use. I especially don't know why the press wrote that story as if I was the hero of Healthcare.gov. I was just part of a group. There was a team of incredibly talented and capable people and very dedicated that pulled off that mission, made it so that today we can stand here and say 16.5 million more people have gotten access to health care for the first time. I'll clap too, because it mostly wasn't me. And the Affordable Care Act is working. That was my assigned talking point, by the way. I got that in there. For those following along at home. Today I worked for the president on an array of government problems that make Healthcare.gov look like a pleasant little diversion from 2013. I have allies in this that include some of the most powerful people in the world that I get to work with. And I have an engineering team that might be the strongest engineering team that exists in the country right now today. And I'm saying this not to brag, but so that you will get my full meaning when I say, you can believe me, none of us has an answer key. It's kind of an exaggeration to say we have a plan a lot of the time. And none of us would be there if we had been following a script. I am sure this story doesn't make a lot of sense to some of you, quite possibly those of you whose names appear at the top of the program there, who have worked very hard and are graduating with honors and going on to grad school and know where you're going next and where you're going after that. I congratulate you on your hard work and achievement. I wish you all success in the world. And I don't have much to say to you because your lives are nothing like mine. Or at least if they are, you don't know it yet. We will see you back here in a few years. There's some others among you who are maybe a little relieved to see your name in the program today at all. Maybe you PNC'd a couple of classes down to the wire there. Just got the grades turned in on Friday, and we're pleased to hear that you'd be walking today. I especially congratulate you. Well done. And it was mostly for that group that I thought it might be helpful for you to hear that from now on, it's really going to matter not a lot how good a job you do of making a plan and sticking to it. It's going to matter much more how well you adapt and respond to unexpected new inputs, which might be crisis, which might be opportunity. The parents like this one, yeah. That's good. See, that's because a lot of the parents are in that second group that I just described. The professors, not so much. They were the valedictorians and so on. Anyway, there'll be crises, there'll be opportunities. A lot of times it'll be hard to tell which is which. So if your mind should happen to wander a little bit in the program that we've got for the next couple hours here, I would suggest that you take a minute and think about what kind of story you might want to be telling when you're up here in 10 or 15 years, receiving your honorary PhD, and what that might sound like. And then get ready for none of those things to happen the way you expected. So, thank you.